Hi everybody, welcome to your horoscopes for this week. These are the horoscopes for the week ending October 29th, 2016. We're almost at the very end of October. It is the first week of Scorpio. So happy birthday, Scorpio! It's celebration time for the Scorpios. We got a lot of stuff going on this week, and of course we're getting towards Halloween, and we all know Halloween to be that one day where the veil between the living and the dead is at its thinnest. So of course we got some creepy stuff going on too. It's all kinds of fun stuff, but we're going to go ahead and get started as we always do with Aries. Now, we're talking a little bit of a roller coaster for you Rams this week, because as we start off the beginning of the week, Uranus is in opposition with Mercury and the Sun as these two planets are moving out of your opposing sign of Libra. Now, it's only for the first couple of days, which is good, but as the week comes to an end, the moon moves opposite into your opposition sign of Libra, and that's going to cause a little bit of an imbalance there as well. We've also got Uranus still in that squared position with Pluto and Mars, as Mars is moving into that conjunction. And what are all of these things basically going to do for you? Well, a lot of, first of all, you're probably going to be spending a lot of time in here thinking about things. Now, when it comes to these oppositions and these squared positions, the biggest thing that's going on here is a lot of issues in terms of some of your career goals, and in some cases feeling like maybe it's the way you do things that's getting in the way of being able to have success in these goals, which is really frustrating. Now, of course, the lesson here is you want to mind how you're thinking about the situation. If your thoughts are going to, I need to change who I am in order to be successful, or if your thoughts are going to, everybody needs to just work with me and how I am because I'm not going to change, well, of course, you're going to have some problems there. The key here is to be a little bit moldable, or be able to mold to the situation a little bit. Be mutable. Even though Aries isn't a mutable sign, being a little bit mutable is a good thing. Being open to the change and riding the wave of the change is definitely going to help you through these things, as well as Uranus is trine with Saturn and Venus this week, which is going to bring you a lot of loving support from people around you and situations around you. And it's really going to show you that even though you're doing this, you're not doing this 100% by yourself. So, little bit of a roller coaster, yes, but that is life. It just is the way that it is. It can't be happy-go-lucky all the time, because if it was, we'd get really bored with it. Life's got to throw some challenges in there, but the good news is you are ready for the challenge. You're ready to face the challenge. You're a ram. You don't back down from a challenge, and you've got all kinds of support to come in and back you up to help you through this challenge. So you guys have a great week with that. Taurus, being homebound is where it's at for you guys this week, and that is actually the place to be for Tauruses. Tauruses love their home and they love their space, and they always have a tendency to create a space that's both comfortable and and it really works for them. And this week is a chance for you to really pay attention to that space and really put some work into it. Now, of course, you have your space set up the way that you want it to, but everybody has those little things that they would like to have in that space that maybe they don't. So this is a good week to try and incorporate some of those things into your space, as well as maybe incorporate some other things that you haven't thought of before into your space. But making that space something that's comfortable, something that the energy flows through the space is really important, because the more your environment feels like that, the easier it is for you to do the work that you need to in the home. And of course, relax at the same time, because relaxation is very important. So this week, take the time to fix some of those things that you've been wanting to fix in the home, or set up some of those things that you've been wanting to set up in the home. The truth is, you can have these ideas all you want to, but while they're still stuck in here and not actually seen in the space, it really makes it frustrating, because you're kind of sort of working against yourself. Take those ideas out of your head, do something with them, and if it's an expense thing, then try and find a way to work around it. You never know. Sometimes it's just fun to get a little crafty and see if what you can create is even better than what you can go out and buy. So you guys, have fun with that and have a great week with that. Gemini, you guys are finding ample time in your schedule to spend time with those that you love this week, which is a good thing, or maybe sometimes not necessarily such a great thing. It really depends on the situation. Now, when you're talking about two different types of situations, one being that you have the time to incorporate these people and spend some time with them, which is an awesome thing. But on the flip side of that, sometimes these wonderful people whom you absolutely adore and love are taking up too much time in your schedule. Maybe they need a little extra attention, or they need a little extra help, need a little extra love, and that is a good thing unless it's somebody who has a tendency to do this over and over and over again. Well, this week is an opportunity to really pay attention to those people, understanding their patterns when they keep coming back and invading your schedule. It's so difficult for any air sign to be organized and have an organized schedule to begin with, because air element signs like Gemini and myself, we got some brilliant ideas. The brain is always going. We're always continuing to build these ideas in our heads, but to actually put it down into something physical is really difficult. Now, if you're able to do that and somebody keeps taking your focus away, that only just makes it more difficult, especially for Geminis who can be easily distracted to begin with. Well, this week is a chance for you to really pay attention to these people that are doing this to you in order to be able to work with them on a different level. Explain to them, learn how to say no, number one, when it's somebody that seems to do this over and over and over again. Be comfortable with saying the word no. This is a big deal to a lot of people, believe it or not. They don't like to say the word no because they feel bad about it. Well, this week, it's not about not feeling bad about it. It's about doing what you need to do because you need to do it. And those people that are coming in and trying to take your focus away from what you need to do, they need to go on the back burner instead of you putting what you need to do on the back burner this week. Now, do this for yourself because, one, you're going to understand just how important, well, not so much important, you're going to understand how important it is to do these things for yourself. But two, the biggest thing that you're going to understand in this situation is just how much of your energy you're giving away to other sources that are not necessarily respecting that energy exchange, if you know what I mean. And putting the time into your interests, your business, your life, your family is, of course, your first priority before anybody else. And even though these people are people that you love, you don't have to just drop everything and do what they want you to do every time they need you to do something. If they are already trained that that's okay, right now it's time to start retraining them. So this week, prioritize your week. Be as organized as you possibly can. And whatever happens, don't let anything get in the way. Because the truth is, the only thing that's going to stop you is not these people coming in that are stopping you from doing what's necessary to move forward and whatever these goals are. Actually, it's you stopping yourself because you're allowing that person to come in and stop you. And when you understand that this is what you're doing, chances are you're not going to want to allow that to happen anymore. So you guys have a great week with that. Cancer, understanding the intricacy of your relationships is important, but nowhere near as important as having a great time with these people that you have built relationships with. The truth is, for most Cancers, if a Cancer builds a relationship with you, it means that you mean something to that individual. And this week, it's really important to look at those relationships as a Cancer and really see the benefits of those relationships for you. Not in a, I'm only in this relationship for what I can get out of it, selfish role, but really embracing and celebrating all of the wonderful things that these relationships bring to you, just as much as you're celebrating what you're bringing to these relationships. A lot of times for many of us, we tend to look more about into what we're putting into these relationships and not necessarily looking at what we get out of the relationship in quite the right way. We're always looking at what we're going to get out of the relationship as something that it matches what we're putting into it. Not realizing that we may be getting the same out of that relationship. It's just not coming back to us in the exact same way. But this week, really taking a look at what the benefits of these relationships is important, because it's going to take that relationship for you to a whole new level. And when you set about to celebrate these relationships, it just makes them better. And that's really what it's all about. When we are building relationships, we are building relationships that mean something. We're building relationships that are going to be mutually beneficial to everybody. But most importantly, we're building relationships that make us feel good. And that, of course, is what it's all about. So this week, take stock of your relationships. Not in a critical way, but in a way that really looks at the benefits of these relationships so that you can celebrate these relationships, whether it's a small little acquaintance or somebody that you just met, right up to the most important relationship of your life. Every single one of them has something beneficial, and if it doesn't have anything beneficial, well then you know what to do with that. So you guys have a great week with that. Leo, the moon is kicking off this week in your sign, lining up with some super positive, wonderful, helpful aspects with Uranus, Saturn, Venus, and Jupiter for the first 2 days of this week. And it's really bringing a tremendously awesome energy to your finances. Now, we can all use a little bit of awesome and positive energy towards our finances. In fact, I don't know anybody that would deny awesome financial energy. I mean, you got to be pretty crazy not to want money, if you know what I mean, in this world. But this week for you guys, this is a very positive boost, because if you had any money worries lately, this kind of energy is energy that's going to give you a financial boost, whether it's, you know, a little bit of a bonus, or a little bit of, you know, money coming back to you that maybe you lent out. It's really a great week for money. And this boost in the beginning of the week is really going to give you the confidence that you need, especially as the moon is lining up with Uranus. And Uranus's position right now, it's all about how you're thinking about the situation. And this boost at the beginning of the week is helping you to turn your mindset into a positive mindset when it comes to receiving money, because a lot of times we have a very negative aspect about receiving money, sort of like, you know, we make the money and then we pay the bills and then the money is gone and we don't get to keep the money. That's a very negative mindset. A positive mindset is saying, as long as I have the money to be able to pay the expenses that I have and allow me to live, then I'm happy with that. A mindset like that actually helps you gain more money, and you're opening that door for the money to flow in. So this week, at the beginning of the week, when the moon comes in a very favorable position, it boosts your energy level up so that not only do you get a nice little financial boost, but it also helps you to keep that flow going, because you never, ever, ever want to shut that door on money. I mean, seriously, that is just crazy talk, isn't it? And we don't want crazy talk. We want super awesome, yay, we're going to have a party with our money talk, because that's what it's all about for you guys. So you guys have a great week with that. Virgo, this week is a prime and beautiful opportunity towards the end of the week to give yourself a little bit of a break. And you know what? You guys have earned that break, let me tell you. As the moon is coming into your sign towards the middle of the week, she is going to line up with some planets in a kind of a difficult way. Some challenges there for you guys a little bit, but they're very quick moving challenges, and they're in and out just like lightning, and then they're done. It'll feel a little bit like things just about got blown out of proportion on an emotional level, and then all of a sudden everything was fine again. You know what happens every time a miscommunication happens. It all blows up. Then you find out what people were really saying, and it turns out really to be nothing, or nothing like what you thought it was. After this little mini blow up comes out with the moon, all of a sudden you move into a position to where you're just kind of sort of sitting, not really focused on anything, any one thing in particular, but just sort of kind of chill and in the middle. And this is actually going to go on not just this week, but through most of next week, which is a prime opportunity for you guys to really sit back and look at what it is that you want to focus on. Being in a position that doesn't have a specific focus is really a good thing. Some people would make that, or would take that as being boring because they have nothing to do. But for you guys right now, because you're making so many plans, because your brain is going 1,000 miles a minute, because all of this other stuff is going on, this break couldn't have come at a better time for you, because you need it. So this week, make sure that you take that time. Just shut your brain down. Take that time to meditate. Take that time to completely decompress, because you're going to want to take this time when life starts moving again. You're going to want to be able to face it relaxed and ready to go, and not still trying to figure out what you were doing 2 weeks ago, if you know what I mean. So you guys have a great week with that. Libra, Jupiter's energy is helping you to expand and grow your plans. And it's all about your goals and dreams, and really being focused on which goals you want to grow and expand in at the moment. Now, in some cases, it is, of course, all about the energy that you put into it. What is it specifically that you want to work on? But in some cases, occasionally, other things that you may not want to focus on right now kind of sort of come into play and force themselves to be seen. And this always happens, of course, because it may be something that you need to work on. When things like this happen, they come in because they complement something else that you're already working on. And though it may not be something that you want to focus on, it's definitely going to help you get where you need to go when it comes to the goals that you do want to focus on. Now, Jupiter is moving into squared position with Pluto and Mars this week, and probably will be in this position with Pluto for a while now. In this particular square with Jupiter is kind of a little bit of a pain in the rear, because the more you try and put into these goals, and the more you're working with other people, when you feel like you're doing everything in order to make this work, it gets exhausting after a while, and your energy level going into this project is going to get lower and lower and lower, because your frustration is coming out more and more and more, especially this week right now, as Pluto and Mars are in conjunction with each other. And Mars, of course, is all about frustration. Now, the good news, though, is that Jupiter's sextile with Venus and Saturn is really a wonderful thing. And it's a very tight aspect right now, because it's bringing in support from other people. If you're focused on these goals, and those that are supposed to be focused on it with you aren't necessarily giving it the focus that they should be giving, you do have support from other avenues that will help you to keep that focus going in the right direction, and also help with some positive energy to help you out and show you the way. It also might be teaching you just who you should be working with, and in some cases maybe who you shouldn't be working with, if you know what I mean. So this week, take it in stride, because the truth is that your goals and your ambitions and your dreams, they are going to grow as big as you want them to grow. But the one thing that'll stop them faster than anything else is being overwhelmed by the fear of just how big they're going to grow. The truth is, if you focus on what you're doing right now and the next step to that, before you know it, you will have expanded your kingdom bigger than you ever thought possible, and never have spent a moment wondering how you were going to handle it in the first place, because you're handling it already. So you guys have a great week with that. Scorpio, happy birthday, Scorpio. The sun moves into Scorpio this week, so happy birthday to all the Scorpios that are born this week. It's, of course, always a wonderful thing when the sun is in your sign, because it really feels like it's your time. And right now, as you're focused on the next steps of your career and all of the wonderful things that you got going on, having the sun in your sign is definitely a wonderful thing. And it's even better when it's not just the sun, but it's the sun and Mercury in conjunction with each other. And even better than that, is these planets are not negatively aspecting anything right now. In fact, there is a beautiful trine between the Sun, Mercury, and Neptune currently at the moment, as Neptune is really pushing you towards success in these career changes that you have going on. Now, especially when we're talking about things that you've done in the past. When it comes to specific career goals and things that you've done in the past that didn't necessarily work out are coming into play, they're coming up for a reason. They didn't work out before because it wasn't the right time, but they actually might work out in this situation a heck of a lot better than they did in the past. So as these things are coming up, what you don't want to do is, of course, look at it and go, oh my God, I failed at that before. I'm not touching it again. The truth is, you weren't ready, you weren't right before, and you're ready and you're ripe right now. Jump on it, learn from it, make it work, and then move on. The sky is literally the limit for you guys right now, and as you are growing and expanding and reaching your highest limits, don't forget every once in a while to give yourself a little break, give yourself some meditation time, give yourself some bubble bath time, give yourself some relaxation time, because you know what? Just because it's all fun doesn't mean that you still don't need some you time every now and then. So you guys have a great week with that. Sagittarius, as Saturn and Venus continue in their squared position with Neptune, or actually Venus is joining that squared position between Saturn and Neptune this week. And as this happens, and these two planets are really focused on old habits that need to die and be replaced by new healthy ones, Venus is reminding you that love is what conquers all, really. Venus's placement in this particular aspect is really important, because as you look at past experiences, especially negative ones, we're always going to look at those experiences as something bad and not necessarily see any positive growth or anything positive for that matter coming out of that situation. Venus coming into this aspect, even though it's a very negative and difficult aspect, is actually showing you what you need to be looking for in this particular situation. The more you focus on the negative, the more it's going to stay the way that it is. But finding and embracing something positive out of a negative situation helps you to better accept the situation, embrace the situation, and put down the negative aspects of it. Also, as Saturn and Venus are move into a sextile, I should say, with Jupiter, big things are happening, and it's all about expansion and growth. And especially with Jupiter being your ruling planet, this is definitely a very powerful aspect, because Sagittarians are all about growth and expansion and bigger, better, more, and moving forward. And this moving forward is really moving forward into specific, very personal goals for you. So understanding the lesson from the past is important, because when you understand the lesson from the past, it gives you more power to be able to project yourself forward and grab on to everything that you've been reaching for up until this point. So you guys have a great week with that. Capricorn, Pluto and Mars both move into squared position with Uranus and Jupiter, creating a bit of a problem for you as you feel that when things are not necessarily moving forward as quickly as you would like them to in your personal goals, that it must be something wrong with you. And that's what the problem is. It's all your fault. Now, the true Capricorn, of course, is going to take the blame for just about everything that goes on in life, unless they really know that it doesn't belong to them. But when it comes to Capricorns, the biggest thing is they're so organized, they have every detail already planned, that when things don't go wrong, automatically they assume that they missed something somewhere, because it couldn't possibly be anything else. These two particular aspects are really coming together to remind you that it's not always something that you did. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe it's you just have to, instead of planning and being so rigid, maybe you just have to set down what needs to be set down and allow things to happen on their own time. This is really how the universe works, by the way. Now, Pluto's sextile with Neptune is also very helpful when dealing with these two challenges, because of the fact that Pluto's sextile with Neptune is showing you some things in the past and some situations in the past that were very similar to that, and reminding you that taking on the blame for things that may or may not be your fault, we'll say that they are not your fault or not your responsibility, doesn't make you the better person. What it does make you is the more stressed out person, because now you're holding your stuff and everybody else's stuff, and you know, you wind up frazzled at the end of the day. Instead, it's time to take yourself out of the situation for a minute. Just step out of the situation and look at it as if you were looking at somebody else in the situation. Understanding each individual as they are playing their parts in the situation. When you're able to do this and you're taking yourself out of the situation emotionally, you can handle the situation better. So if there's something going off with somebody else, you can talk to them without yelling at them. Or if it is something that you need to work on or you need to fix, you can fix it without beating yourself up because you weren't perfect. And you know, nobody's perfect, but I will say that Capricorns are probably the closest thing to it, okay? So this week, really pay attention. When things start to get a little bit shaky and it looks like everything's getting disorganized, instead of reacting to the situation right away, take yourself out of the situation and look at it as if you were helping somebody else with it. And I know you can do that because Capricorns can explain to anybody how to do something properly. This is what you need to do for yourself, and you have to take yourself out of it emotionally, because while you're in it, it's too important to you and you're too afraid of losing it. Take yourself out, look at it for what it is, take an inventory, and fix what needs to be fixed. That's the Capricorn way. So you guys have a great week with that. Aquarius, how's about moving into a space where it's all about you? It is actually the best place for any Aquarian to be, really. But that is how it is. This week, we're moving into the next 2 or 3 weeks, actually, where it's really focused on you. Now, what do I mean when it's all about you? This next couple of weeks is really a time for you to take an inventory of yourself, what it is that you're doing. Make sure that you're on the right track, or the track that you want to be on. If you're not on the track that you want to be on, well, then it's time to make some changes and find yourself on that track that you do want to be on. It's also a chance for you to take inventory of your own self-care. Now, this is really important for Aquarians, because Aquarians have a tendency to avoid that at all costs. Not because it's not important to the Aquarian, but it's just not the most important thing that the Aquarian is focused on in the moment. It's whatever's going on in here right now. Taking this time for some self-evaluation honestly allows you to fix some of the things that need to be fixed, or tweak some of the things that need to be tweaked, and make the most of the things that are really working for you right now, rather than the typical human reaction, which is to focus on the negative aspects in an unhealthy way, while putting down or making not much of the wonderful things about yourself. Aquarians are known to be full of themselves, but it's not full of themselves. You want to be a healthy Aquarian, not belittling yourself. You want to be right there, right smack in the middle. And doing this evaluation is going to help you understand where you're at, what you want to work on, and what, of course, you want to make the most of. Once you do this, you set yourself to be on the right track for success, because your mind is focused on what you need to do, and of course your body is you're taking care of your body so that you can do all of those things that you want to do. So this week, and the next couple of weeks for that matter, pay attention to you. Make you the number one person. I know Aquarians are humanitarians and they're all about everybody else, but every once in a while, it really does need to be all about you. So you guys have a great week with that. And finally, Pisces. Neptune is, of course, still in that squared position with Saturn, and Venus joins that square this week, which is kind of an uncomfortable thing, but it's a helpful thing at the same time. It just really does depend on how you look at it. But of course, the square for you this week is, and it's been for the last couple of weeks, really digging up this old crap. that you've been dealing with before, and it's coming back for you to deal with it again. Now, first of all, if it's coming back for you to deal with it again and you still have the same reaction that you did the last time it happened, you have not worked through it yet. This, I work with clients over and over and over with this. If you still feel that deep pain, you have not dealt with it, and this is why it keeps coming up. But at the same time, Venus is entering this aspect, showing you that love does conquer everything. It really does. And understanding the place of love, or the type of love that you need to learn from this negative situation, is really important. And I understand how difficult that is. But the good news is that Neptune's aspects with Pluto, as well as the Sun and Mercury, are very positive aspects, a really good sextile and a very powerful trine between the Sun, Mercury, and Neptune. Now, these planets all coming together to really focus your energy on your career, building your career and building yourself up. And it's really starting to show you just how much those old situations are what's holding you back from being able to build those things. And we're talking, it's the difference between, I'm going to build a little house, or I'm going to build a big giant castle with 16 rooms and 4D bathrooms or whatever. Are you going to do a little bit, or are you going to do it? The choice really is ultimately yours. So this week, it's time to understand, if you're focusing on the past and the negatives of the past, you need to focus on what they're teaching you, not how much they've drug you down in the past. When you're focused on how much they've drug you down, whether it's past, present, or future, you're not moving forward. When you understand what this particular situation is teaching you, it gives you the power and the fuel to move forward. Think about that, and have a great week with that. Thanks so much for watching the horoscopes for this week. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Remember, 13 card tarot for 2017. We're halfway through the 4 months that it's available. We've only got 2 more months left, so make sure that you get those orders in for that reading before it is gone. And it will be gone December 31st at midnight Pacific time. Again, I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Psychic. Thanks so much for watching the horoscopes, and have a great week. I'll see you guys next week.